Hi, Moriah from Mogility here. In this YouTube channel from Mogility, we will walk through safe and other agile topics. In today's video, we'll be talking about when leaders fail to lead. The topics we will be covering are what failure to lead looks like, why leaders fail to lead, and how to create leaders in leadership. Failure to lead shows up in several different ways. I've outlined three right here on the screen. The first one is organizational effort. And anytime a company is going through some large organizational effort, you could, for example, think of an agile transformation. And if leaders are failing to lead in an agile transformation, this could look like leaders who don't fully understand what that means. They don't understand what agile looks like, what scaled agile looks like, or any of the methodologies that the teams might be working in. And the reason why this is failure is because when they fail to understand the intricacies of what the teams are doing and how this changes the work, how this changes the artifacts or what they might be used to seeing or receiving from the teams, then it puts a lot of pressure on the teams to continue to function in the previous way of working rather than allowing the teams to work towards this future goal of agile or scaled agile. And the next is communication. So when a leader fails to lead in regard to communication, this could look like leaders that are demeaning or belittling employees by making gross assumptions. And these assumptions could be around someone's skill set or, frankly, lack thereof, rather than the leader really getting to know that person, really getting to know the person's background or history. Far too often, we are put in these positions where we might have been hired by one person, and through working at the company for a while, we are now reporting to a new leader. And when that happens, if those leaders aren't taking the time to get to understand who you are as a human, your experience, your background, the things that you are focused on, your goals, your aspirations, then that leader is failing to communicate properly with you as an employee and as a human being. And the next and last example that I have on the screen is when leaders fail to create clear strategy and vision. And so the first example on this is when leaders are creating their own strategies or visions in silos, it creates these little pockets of disconnection throughout the organization, throughout the enterprise. And when that happens, it makes it really hard for teams to feel connected and excited because they don't really understand how those pieces fit together. And the next example on creating clear strategy and vision is when leaders create very ambiguous strategy and vision. It's very hard for you to understand what those KPIs or those steps for success. How do you check this off your list and know? How do you measure success in regard to this specific strategy and vision whenever it's so ambiguous? So if you're anything like me, though, you might be thinking, well, why do leaders fail? I mean, surely these aren't people who are intentionally failing or have some sort of malintent. If any of you listening are a leader or have been a leader, you know that's not true. So why does this happen? Well, two things. Leaders fail to lead because of a lack of training and a lack of support. Well, I'm not going to leave you there. I'm not going to leave you on why they fail and give you no more information. So let's get into how do we create leaders in leadership, knowing that they need more training and they need more support. What does this look like? How can organizations, how can someone like myself at Mogility, how can I come in and help? So leaders need training on a few different things. They need training on how to effectively create and communicate strategy. This could look like OKR training. This could look like pulling in all the leaders from the different pockets of the organization and discussing with them what effective strategy looks like. How do we create this in such a way that we can measure this and we can move towards this strategically in the future? And next is how to lead with transparency and openness. This is very important because if people see you as a leader who is transparent and open means you're open to hearing feedback, you're open to questions, you're open to concerns. If people see you that way, then they feel safe with you. They trust you. They know that you have their best interests at heart. Rather than just a dictator giving demands, you are someone who cares and someone who, going with my last bullet on the left-hand side, is how to humanize humans. If you see people as a human rather than someone who is just receiving a paycheck, you treat them much different than you would if you were seeing them as a number, as a slot to fill. We all have our own backgrounds, we all have our own experiences, and we all have a life outside of work. And it's important that we realize that, especially working in a remote world. It's very, very important that leaders understand this concept. How do you humanize humans? How do you see people? How do you get to know people, but also remain respectful to your position and theirs? And the next is support. And support is an interesting topic because this can be done a couple different ways. So this could be internal mentorship. So if you are a manager, typically the mentorship, this would be done by someone at a senior manager or director level position. And this wouldn't just be someone that signs up for the role. This would be someone who has proven that they know how to effectively communicate strategy, that they know how to lead with transparency and openness, that they do treat humans like humans. And at all levels, this is important to have. Once you get up to C-level leadership, it's important that companies are bringing in coaches, experienced individuals who can coach them on how to be better leaders. And the next for support is having a mandatory continued education. So the things you could do for mandatory continued education, this could be guest speakers coming in and providing information. This could be classes through maybe an internal system that the company pays for. This could be a retreat that brings in the leaders and sends them off somewhere so that way everybody can learn the same thing and be in the same room and ask questions. And some of the topics that I have listed for ideas on mandatory continued education is effective communication, resolving conflict, and creating strategy and vision. And you do see that topic, creating strategy and vision, on both sides. It's because you need initial training, but you also need ongoing training, as so much has changed and will continue to change in our world, in our workplace, and our technology, that it's important that we have new and fresh ideas, because the things that we've done 10 years ago are no longer happening. At least they shouldn't be. I hope this video was helpful. Again, this was Moriah with Mogility, where we provide content related to agile and safe.